What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Weekly Cheddar. Jake Shavink here. It's been a little while. Excited to be back. It's a big week, right? We got Combine Week going on. That's really, really exciting. Tons of drills, tons of athletic testing. We're getting a lot of data points over the next week, and it's going to be very beneficial as the Packers continue to build and probably shrink their draft board as we head up to the 2025 NFL Draft. So Combine Week, it starts tomorrow, I think around 2 p.m. Lambeau time. Definitely tune into that if you can. Defensive linemen are going tomorrow. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be talking a lot about the Combine tonight. We'll get into positions, players you should be watching, right? We're going to talk about that. We're going to kind of give you a little reminder about the Combine in general here. We're going to take some questions, as always, no matter what you guys want to talk about. And then, of course, we got to do a mock draft. No question. We will be doing that at the end. We might get a little crazy in terms of what we do in the mock draft. Maybe we'll do a safe one, and maybe we'll get a little wild with the second one so the people who want to click off then can do so. So I want to start here really quick as we got some folks filing in, probably from PTA. Just a reminder about the Combine, and I think this is the best way that I've heard someone refer to the Combine as. It's two-step verification. What do you see on film? Does the testing match it? If so, great, cool, we're moving on. If it's different in some way, let's go recheck. We'll even go a step further in the verification process. We'll make it 3 steps, and I think that's the important part about this, because every year there are players, right, that even in I think we do a decent job here of going in depth as much as possible on these guys, and we will be doing that, obviously over the next 8 weeks or so, or 9 weeks leading up to the draft. In terms of the prospects, we'll go all the way down the board. We do get some of those guys that we don't talk about enter the conversation because of the testing. I'm just going to bring up one, okay, that I remember very vividly being asked about this guy several times last year after the athletic testing. Right here. If you don't remember him, that's the point. Bryce Ford Wheaton, wide receiver from West Virginia. It was kind of like, if the Packers go wide receiver, right? Because we talked about a lot about that here, right, as a possibility later. Does he fit all the stuff? Of course he does. Was he a very good prospect? No. This is where the athletic testing, can kind of and again, this is a, not as a severe example, right, where it's kind of like, okay, he's still going to be a day 3 pick, but does he, become more interesting because of this? And I just didn't think the film matched up with a guy other than he can jump high and run fast. That's good for go balls and contested balls and stuff like that, but can you round out as a wide receiver? No. Here's one more from 2020. Everybody's favorite, Chase Claypool from Notre Dame. Insane numbers here. No question about it. But I thought would have been best as a power slot. Didn't really, love everything else about his game. Goes in the second round and has been on a few teams. So that's obviously just a quick reminder, right? It doesn't mean that, the athletic testing isn't anything, but it's just a good reminder of hey, this might not, this isn't everything this week. Now, am I going to have fun? Am I going to have fun watching these guys go nuts in the testing? Yes, because it's fun to watch these guys kind of man, this is just another step on their, journey to a realized dream, right? That's the fun part about this. That was the fun part about DK Metcalf running the 4.43 as a 220-some pound wide receiver. It was incredible to watch Xavier Worthy break the record at the Combine last year, to break it. Now, that's the other part about this, right? And again, using receiver an example, I think is important, but I will get into a few other things about this as the reminders. But he got labeled as a speed only guy, and speed was a part of the profile. And with the speedy guys, right, you want to see if they use the speed to their advantage, right? And I think Xavier Worthy is somebody who does, right? But then he got labeled as like, well, he can't do anything else. And I know that a lot of the gadget touches were something good for the Chiefs, but I promise if you go watch every snap on Xavier Worthy this past season, you might go, wow, they're giving him some comeback routes, some outbreakers, and some ISO looks. That's kind of surprising. I didn't know he could do that. His freshman year at Texas was very, very good. So just, a little bit of a reminder there. I'm going to bring these up as well, just because I think it's worth talking about. Top wide receivers at the combine, just again to use a wide receiver as an example, of course. We're looking at relative athletic scores from the wide receiver class at the combine in terms of the top guys, right? 2021, you see Jamar Chase up there. You see Nico Collins up there. Excellent, right? Rondale Moore, Terrence Marshall Jr., maybe not everything. Jacob Harris, you might not even know who drafted him. Spoiler alert, it was the Rams. Jalen Camp, right? Tariq Black, like guys you go, Tristan Wallace. Does anyone know who Tristan Wallace is and what school he went to? I didn't know until I looked on the Relative Athletic Score website. Okay, 2022. You got Christian Watson in here. You got Alec Pearson here. Very nice. Kevin Austin Jr., Notre Dame. Derek Young from Lenore-Rhine. Brendan Schooler, Andre Miller, Isaiah Weston. So there's a little bit of that as well. Now, if we go to 2023, obviously, Bryce Ford Wheaton, Yosavash, Mingo, right? You'll probably recognize more of these guys. A.T. Perry, right? So you get a little bit of that. 2024, right? So now that this is why it's not a perfect pattern or anything, but you get Adonai Mitchell, Adunze, Pearsall, Leggett, Thomas, right? So that there is a little bit of like, okay, some of the elite guys don't test. When they do test, you can see it. And I think, again, you don't have to agree, and that's totally fine. We're not ever going to fully agree, all of us. I was big on Adonai Mitchell. I still am. I'm still big on Adunze. I really like what Pearsall got to show once he got on the field. Thomas looks excellent, of course. So there will be those, right? There will be those who the athletic testing matches the film, and you go, yep, that's awesome. But there will always be those who do not. And again, I used wide receiver and as an example, just because it was kind of an easy one that came to mind. But we can bring up other ones as well if you guys are interested in like, hey, what happened in 22 with the edge rushers? We can look at that. But I do think that's the big thing, right? I do think there are some things that you want to see in terms of like benchmarks to hit. If you're a corner running, 4.6 plus, that's probably not ideal, right? And there will always be outliers, of course. That's why the film is such an important part of this, and the production metrics and all of that are important. But when you're not fast as a corner, it's difficult, right? When you're not quick as a corner, it's difficult. When you aren't athletic as a running back, sometimes that's a deal breaker. Bucky Irving, Kyron Williams have proved that wrong. But those are much more exceptions than rules. Edge rusher, defensive tackle. Look at those splits. Look at the 10-yard split. Look at the explosion. Look at the agility, right? I think those are important, right? Because you want to see those elite benchmarks hit. And when you look at, and Kentley Platt, who does all the RAS stuff, will show you like a lot of the elite pass rushers, several of the corners, right? Tight end is a big one with athleticism. You need to have that benchmark. If you don't have that benchmark of athleticism at tight end, when you're going to be facing up against, fast linebackers, the best of the best in the athleticism department there, best of the best athleticism department at nickel and safety, you have to have that. So there are certain ways that you have to look at and go, okay, there are certain things you have to hit benchmarks of. And that's great that they do, right? But I think it's important to go, okay, like this guy tested well. What do I see as well? Can I find highlights? What are they showing, right? So that's I think something that's very, very important when you look at a lot of this. So let's get to some comments as we get rolling. Drew D's in here. Janelle, what's going on? Yes, it has been a while. Good to see you. Catching the show live. Airs Joy, what's going on? Ron Sandville's in the building. Prince Capsaison's in the building. So Turtles and Chris N. and Mike Berry are in the building. Good to see you all. We're not going to go super long tonight, but we're going to, I think, try to cover as much as we can in terms of the preview, the Packers. And as I said already, if you got questions, drop those in the comments, and we will get to them. promise you that. That is the one thing. Can't promise everything, but we will get to your questions. So Drew quickly said, do you have a strategy for watching the combine to get the most out of it? I mean, for a lot of things, right, tomorrow's defensive line, so that's a big one where it's like, okay, let's see. Actually, why don't we bring the schedule up here in my Chase Claypool RES thing, since we've gotten that spiel out of the way. Here, let's bring that up. I don't want to be wrong here. Is it D-line? Is it all D-line and linebacker? Yeah, it is. Okay. So it is D-line and linebacker tomorrow. Okay. So yeah, I mean, for D-line linebacker, right, I think you're looking at some 10-yard splits for the D lineman, right? You want to see that. You want to see the explosion and agility, as I already said, right? The drills will show you some things with those guys, right? And a lot of them they run at the Senior Bowl as well. You want to see athletic movement, right? That's the big thing out of a lot of this. The linebackers, obviously, you want to see, as guys who are going to be running with receivers up the seam and just sideline to sideline stuff and show off a little bit of that strength. Like you want good athletes, right? But I am saying, though, is do your verification stuff on all of this. So the strategy really is just, I think watch what you can, right? Get some stuff out of the 10-yard splits from the D lineman tomorrow. And also just make sure you're following Kent Lee Platt on Twitter or Blue Sky, whichever, so you get those updated RAS cards very, very quickly. And really quick on that, we are going to be covering the combine on a live show every day of the next 4 days here. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we will be on here live talking about the combine and some of the scores, and we might have guests. We'll see. So, yeah, we're going to be doing a lot for this. It's a big week. All right, what else? Judy says West Virginia wide receivers never seem to work out. Yeah, remember when they had 2 to 3 day 2 wide receiver picks? I remember a few. Gary Jennings, David Sills, obviously Kevin White, and Bryce Ford Wheaton's another one. Those are the 4 I remember off the top of my head at that position. Prince Capsaicin is predicting Loveland and Henderson. That would be very chaotic, wouldn't it? That would be very chaotic. Ayers Joyce says football's way more a skill game than a track and field game. People don't realize it year after year. Yeah, you just have to verify everything if you can, right? There will be players, right? And another one, really good examples at safety, right? You get Kyle Hamilton running a funny 40, right? Because it's not in a straight line. And it's kind of like, when is Kyle Hamilton's path as a coverage safety ever going to be in a straight line? Right, yes, working back potentially from the middle of the field to the sideline, but it also might just never be a fully straight path anyway. Brian Branch, another great example of like middling athlete in the combine stuff and a great football player. So the combine's going to get these guys to jump up. There's no question it's going to be big board mock draft movement. If you want some of the players that we aren't going to talk about tonight, of guys where you go, oh, they're going to leap onto a lot of mock drafts, check the Substack tomorrow. I'll put that link either in chat at some point tonight or in the description of this live, and you'll catch that post in the morning of guys who I think might appear in a lot more mock drafts once the combine finishes. So, yeah, it is. Football is a very, the cognitive process is very, very important in football, right? When you have the cognitive skill set and the athletic skill set, it all can come together really, really well as a player. That comes from any position you can think of. And, the skill positions are a big part of that. Running back, receiver, tight end. Yeah, you got to be perceptive. You have to have a good cognitive skill set and the athleticism to match to really reach a ceiling in the NFL. And so that's kind of the thing, right? It's like the athletic stuff is kind of your floor, right? Versus like, okay, cognitive, technique, all of this stuff is your ceiling, which I think is, again, makes this so much fun and super interesting. Ayers says the new Nico is going to be good. Coming out, wanted Pack to get him, but we got Amari Rodgers. Yeah, Nico and Amon-Ra St. Brown, those mid-round picks that really panned out from that class, while Green Bay took Amari Rodgers, indeed. When watching, Ayers Joyce says, when watching the athletic beasts at wide receiver, isn't it fair to criticize when they mainly get open by outrunning DBs that are slow to react or blue coverage? Yeah, I think, with that, like if you're just outrunning guys and they're not getting hands on you right in the stem at all, and you get a bunch of free stuff down the field, there's not a lot there. When you are able to use that speed to your advantage, right, to winning the comeback game, to winning the hitch and curl game, right, to winning after the catch with your speed, right, to be able to keep that speed on the curved linear paths, right, to be able to run speed outs with your speed, like to use the speed turn through all your breaking routes, right, in or out breaking, like all of that I think matters if you have that speed. And again, Brian Thomas has that speed, and he is absurdly quick in the route break transition department. Adonai Mitchell's kind of the same way. He's very, very quick in and out of those breaks. And so when you have players like that who use it to their advantage, there you go. Now, of course, Mitchell has some things to iron out technique-wise and recognize coverage-wise, right? Like that's something he must get better at. But you've seen a lot of the requisite stuff there. So, yeah, there is a definite thing, right, like with how players use their athletic gifts. And that is extremely, extremely important in the player evaluation process. Drew D saying Stedman Bailey. Oh, yeah, Tavon Austin's another good one. And Chris, and yeah, can't stand any player more than St. Brown. And he's talking about Equinemius. Yeah, we could talk a lot about the Packers wide receiver selections in the mid rounds, not named Dobbs and Wicks. So, yeah, that's a definite. There are plenty of those. There will always be those misses. So, yeah. Where do we want to start is the real question at players to watch. We're already on it, so let's go here. Let's talk about wide receivers to watch. Some of the guys who I think could be very, very interesting after this combine. Obviously, Jaden Higgins, right? The production just doesn't drop the football, can pretty much run any route you're going to ask of him. Obviously, doesn't have elite speed, but do you see, enough of a requisite athletic floor where you go, okay, this is fine. Like he's not the plotter out there. But again, if he's getting open, right, and he's doing all the things and he's not going to be the deep receiver, then it might not matter as much. But again, you just kind of want to see, okay, does he hit a good enough athletic benchmark? I think he will. I don't know if it's going to be, out of this world, of course, but, could he be higher than what T. Higgins did several years ago? Yeah, I think so, right? Obviously there's a couple things really quick that I forgot about in the kind of opener here in terms of it. Like we looked at Puka Nacua and he was slow, right, at the combine. He was slow. But everybody looked at the gauntlet drill and said, wow, he was really, really good at the gauntlet drill. And then, right, the next year we hyper-focus on one thing and we go, okay, who's good at gauntlet drill? Who's good at the gauntlet drill? Like who stands out as moving fast at the gauntlet drill? It was Keon Coleman, okay? And again, nothing against Keon Coleman. He made some plays this year. He made some big plays, right? He had some big-time plays on targets down the field in the red zone, but it was kind of more broken play stuff. And he was more of the big slot type to me, and I think we got hyper-focused on it a little bit and went, yeah, so Coleman's that guy. Like Puka Nacua, right? Like, so we do get kind of hyper-focused on some things as well. But I think it's good to kind of pick through all that stuff. What matters, what doesn't. Definitely be watching the gauntlet drills for the skill positions. There's no question. Watch how the running backs catch the football. Watch hand technique when you catch the football, right? I think this is a big one. At receiver, right? If you watch guys, do they clap attack? Do you see kind of this movement at the catch point? Because if you do, not good technique. How are they attacking the football? Are they underhand attacking when they go up for the football? Are they overhand attacking when they should be? All of this stuff, like, that's, I think, even a good thing, especially with the running backs too, because some of them you don't know because they haven't got a lot of production catching the football. It's good to see how comfortable they are, even in not a non-padded setting of like, can I adjust to the football easily, right? Do I make it look easy? Do I make it look difficult on myself? And it kind of works for receivers in that regard as well. So it does kind of show you at times like, okay, who are the smooth guys who operate with you can tell little panic. They're very calm. Oh, no problem. I can make that adjustment for you. Oh, no problem. I'll toe tap the sideline for you. Like, I'm aware of where I'm at, all of that. So I think that's going to be the fun part at wide receiver. But again, Jaden Higgins, we already kind of mentioned. Just looking for a benchmark here. I've heard some things about Alec Iomanor from Stanford, potentially sub 4.4. We'll see about that on Saturday, I believe it is. I should have left the combine schedule up for myself. Yeah, so Saturday for them. He might do that. Trey Harris, obviously, everybody's going to be watching Trey Harris. He's going to be fast. There's no question. How does he look at all the drill stuff, right? That's going to be, I think, a lot of fun to watch with him. I think to me, like, if I only watched 2023, I'd be a little more concerned about Trey Harris, to be honest. The 2024 did look a lot better. Now, 4 of those games were against teams that you probably should see dominant performances from, but the 2 LSU games the last 2 years, I think, are good selling points. The A&M game as well, I think from 23, if I'm not mistaken. So there's some good stuff there with Trey Harris. I think he is there. There is more than speed to work with there, which is good. You want to see that. And again, I think Watson's improved on his kind of be more than speed skill set, which is good. But Trey Harris could potentially provide that. Dante Thornton from Tennessee is kind of the one that I would put in there of like, yeah, you're probably going to see his name in mock drafts because he's probably going to run fast, jump high. It's funny because I haven't gotten to him, but if you search him, there's like 2 plays they show. One's him like taking a slant to the house, and I think the other one's just outrunning a guy. So there isn't a lot of highlights from him. That concerns me. Makes me think Dante Thornton is your Bryce Ford Wheaton this year because I haven't seen a lot of detailed stuff from him. But we'll see. Maybe that's not true. But it is kind of my early call on that player. Jack Besh, of course, right? I think he to me fits more of that power slot. But again, his numbers and the metrics production-wise against man coverage look promising. So that's something that I think you need to circle in that department. If you're one of those who looks at those production metrics and goes, okay, how is he against man coverage? Right? There's some good stuff there from Jack Besh, and might I add, he started at LSU. We talk about drafting those LSU guys. Okay, we don't talk about Terrace Marshall. It's fine. Forget about it. But LSU guy who might have outproduced Neighbors and Thomas as a freshman. So that's always fun. Savion Williams has obviously been talked about as like, okay, this is your Laviska Shenault, Debo Samuel, right? Cordero Patterson type. And I think that's partially true, but you do see really, really impressive movement skills for the size. There are some excellent flashes of adjusting the football, being, really dynamic in the short area in terms of the route break or, just kind of maneuvering in space when he's getting those scheme touches. Like there is stuff to work with there. I'm a little less excited, but like I see the vision. And again, I think he is going to pop up on a lot of mock drafts that people do after this week. So keep an eye on Thornton and Williams in people's mock drafts on any of the apps after this week. Pat Bryant, again, like Jaden Higgins, production looks really, really good. Can we just get, like, as I said, the benchmark, the floor of athletic testing where you go, okay, he's fine compared to the peers. We're okay there. I don't think his film's as good as Jaden Higgins to me, but there are things to like in terms of reliability, tempo, route running stuff that shows plenty of promise as well. Ty Felton's another one that I got to remember what his numbers were in Mobile, but in terms of the measurements. But I remember, I'm trying to find it here. Yeah, Ty Felton, 186. So maybe not for Green Bay. We'll see if he puts on and gets up to 190, but there is that chance. My buddy Brian Maffey would say the arm length is a little too small in that department, but he is somebody I like at the position a decent bit, and to see some athletic testing there will be nice. And then a guy who I feel like has really flown under it, like really flown under the radar, is Janiel Jackson from Minnesota. And I keep, like, when I bring him up everywhere, I'm like making sure that like he's in the draft class, right? Like I check every time, and I'm going to check again. No, he's in the combine invites. Okay, so to me, I think there's something here. He does some great stuff at the catch point, right? I do really like the route running stuff. And again, we're just not talking about him. I don't know why not. I think incredible body control at the position. So like, I'm not sure why he's being talked about. He's a Big Ten guy. He's Minnesota. So I'm not sure what's up there. But I do want to see the testing for him, because he's another guy who might just end up in mocks because the testing's good. But if the testing's like average to above average, I think people will start talking about him, which would be good. Okay. So that's what I had for receivers. Let's catch up on the comments really fast. Joseph Gleason says, I'm almost most interested in the guys who test well without exceeding expectations, to see who might drop. If Carson Schwessinger, for instance, falls to the third, I'd love to see the Pack nab him. Yeah, so the linebacker class, right, if you're counting Jalen Walker as an edge rusher from Georgia, it turns into Jihad Campbell. Green Bay's obviously met with him recently at the Combine. They do kind of meet with pretty much everybody, but there's certainly things that will leak in terms of like, because Green Bay should kind of, I think most of us agree, should be interested at linebacker at least a little bit, even if it's day 3, just kind of like, okay, that room kind of needs depth if you're not bringing guys back. But Schwessinger, if you saw the flow today in the interviews, I feel like he's running a phenomenal time, and I think he's going to secure himself for the second round, would be my guess at this point. It's him, Demetrius Knight from South Carolina, and Jihad Campbell is kind of the top 3 consensus players there. So Schwessinger in the third would be pretty sick. I will say Schwessinger's kind of a coverage guy, so unless like the idea there is to have Cooper someday take over as the Mike, it might be more beneficial for Green Bay to find a guy who's the block deconstructor, downhill guy, right? Doesn't harm you in coverage, but it does the dirty work playing linebacker at kind of the Mike position. Again, but maybe Tyron Hopper's that guy. Maybe Walker does become that guy. But I do think it would be more beneficial to have that type. But Schwessinger could be, that'd be a lot of fun. There's no question. Drudy says Gauntlet's most important for running backs. So Turtle says, what's with the big body receivers coming out of Ole Miss? Yeah, it's been going on for a while. Juice Wells, I don't think is as big, if I remember correctly. But yeah, Trey Harris, it's SEC recruiting, That's what it is, right? Kiffin's offense and high-flying, the scoring offense that they have should in theory attract wide receivers, and clearly it has. So I'm excited to see what he can do. Chris N says, does Goot like Shamar Stewart? You know it. We're not at edge yet, but we're going to get there, and yeah. Chris, you don't even have to ask. You know. This was a rhetorical question, and I know it. Yeah. Air Joy says, I'm trying to convince myself of Harris's game. Yeah, I understand the hesitation. I do. I do get it. Because if you watch 2023, you see a lot of ups and downs. And you go, I don't love this. 2024 is better, but again, as I said, you would have liked to see him play a full season against SEC competition. He kind of dipped a little early, obviously because of injury, right? But would have been nice to see him finish that out against top competition. Prince Capsaicin, I think, echoes quite a few people, right? Pat Bryant 40 times going to be interesting. Yeah, because I think, again, he's going to look natural everywhere. But again, if he's a 4.6 guy, that doesn't mean he can't win. It doesn't mean he can't win. The 40 is kind of like this is fun to watch, but like GPS testing, which we don't have that much access to, unfortunately, is probably going to be a better estimator of how they can do. So, and I actually have something on that, which we'll maybe cover at some point here. Airjoy says they should have the DBs do a catching drill like the Gauntlet to test for ball skills. Yeah, because they kind of throw deep balls and let them like kind of treat it like pop flies almost to the outfield where it's like, I'm not running that far for this. I just got to find it and kind of jump sometimes and make the play right. It would be nice to see that for sure. Year after year, it's difficult to find a DB that can cover well and have good ball skills. Well, let me interest you in a guy Green Bay definitely can't draft, Travis Hunter, right? So yeah, no, but yeah, it's very true. It's very true. Dante Sparta, what's going on? Sick picture, by the way. Says, what position do you think we will take in round 1? I think it's, if I had to pick one, if you're making me pick one, I think it's 3-tech, defensive tackle. I just think there are going to be guys available. I think Harmon, Nolan, maybe. Maybe Darius Alexander. Probably not, but, could be. That feels likely. Edge also feels likely, right? Like Smart Stewart, Mikel Williams. Who else am I thinking of in that regard? There's one more. I mean, Mike Green potentially. Who else? Nick Scorton. Yeah. Like he could be one for sure. If Green Bay goes like, yeah, we kind of liked what he did. Because if you missed it, Nick Scorton today at the podium was asked, kind of about Texas Tech's defense versus Purdue's. And he said, well, Purdue kind of let me get after the QB a little bit more in their front. And that showed in the pressure numbers and all of that, which is why I think there was heavy excitement about him going to SEC school to see if he could prove it. And he didn't have quite the production, but again, Texas A&M, much like Green Bay, in their switch in philosophy this past year, focused on kind of the run game, make sure you have that shored up, defend that first, and then go, right? And that's where you saw that from Gary and Van Ness a lot this year. Maybe Green Bay likes that. It'll be good to see kind of what the measurements are for him, especially. So, yeah, I think he's still in play too. So, yeah, I think defensive line feels like the position. Right, it doesn't mean it's going to be. There could be a corner Green Bay likes that they take there. There could be the way far out. There's way far out potential, right? You just never know. Offensive line's a possibility. I still think if they are comfortable with Simmons from Ohio State, they might consider that. So there will be options, but my guess would be defensive line in some capacity. Drudy says, do you care about wingspan at all or only arm length? I mean, wingspan, I guess, gives you kind of the broad shoulder body type that you might be looking for. It seems like Green Bay has cared more about the arm length, right? Which, is fair, right? When you're going up, edge rusher versus tackle versus edge rusher, interior versus interior, right? Like you would like to have that little bit of arm length leverage to win some of those matchups, to be able to get hands on first. And if you get hands on first, it's difficult for guys to recover and get hands on you. So that's obviously, something that's important, but obviously, there's so much more that goes into it. But if guys can use that length to their advantage, that's very, very helpful. Wingspan, I haven't looked into as much, I'll be honest. Adam Huddle says, I'm still believing in Dwayne Bowe. Love that. Yeah, Dante Sparta says, what's Goody's like? Yeah, what's the athleticism? Which I get it. I get that. I don't know who Adam was talking about. Is he is skinny? If you know, you know. Adam, let me know. I also didn't say welcome, I don't think, because you weren't in here yet. But good to see you. Dante Sparta says, I'm kind of tired of taking these athletes with bad or average tape in the first. I get it. Feels like a 1 for 2, batting 500 in the edge rusher department with Gary and Van Ness. In my opinion, maybe not everybody has that, but he's batting 500 so far. But yeah, I get it, man. Quay Walker, I understand. Eric Stokes, I understand. Wyatt, I think he's almost there, but I get it. So I totally understand that. Trust me, Goody loves to try for exit velocity. He's the exit velocity guy right now, trying to hit home runs. And it's just kind of like maybe one time, just Play to contact, right? Hit one in the gap. Nice little double. Good football player. But I understand because he has been so good after day one that I think, and his department, of course, the department as a whole, they feel like, okay, we know we know we're good here. We know we're good at evaluating here. Let's try to home run swing for a potentially elite player at 23 or 26 or wherever they've been, right? And kind of go like, yeah, we have the guys to supplement, right, in terms of like, good but maybe not great players later. I mean, Edgerrin Cooper was a tremendous athlete coming out, right? I know he was a second-round pick, but if you flip him and Jordan Morgan, it looks pretty nice. But I understand the sentiment. Airjoy says, I have a feeling Goody is switching his philosophy for pure RAS as the priority. Yeah, I'm sure that they're, maybe he is, but I do think they're still going to draft athletes. They're simply going to. They're going to draft the top of the top athletes because they know that that's kind of the benchmark to clear, right? They're top of the top athletes at this combine, but they're joining the tip top of the top athletes in the league. So I get it. It's just, I think it'd be fun to kind of put together a more complete profile rather than just the athleticism. But again, there's so much that goes into evaluation in terms of projection. So, it's complicated, but that's what makes it fun. Dante Sparta still thinks Rashawn Gary wasn't a great pick. One season with double-digit sacks. Tape at Michigan was awful. Yeah, but tested amazing. Yeah, I'm trying to remember if Michigan played him at like 3-tech 4I type of thing. Probably did some 5-tech though as well. Again, I still think if you're still harping on that one, he's been a good player. Obviously, when you're picking the top 15, you'd like great. But again, there's just no guarantees in this stuff. Gary, I'm a little bit more like understandable on. Not at the time. I certainly wasn't at the time. But I do understand now. Drew D says a lot of these linebackers are light, but in the 4-3, that's not a deal breaker. I think it's going to be a deal breaker for them. I know that everybody's talking about Chris Paul from Mississippi, Jay Higgins from Iowa. Man, you're sub 230. Here's my problem. Where the league's going, the cyclical nature of where the league is at, married with how good the running back class looks this year, has me thinking, these linebackers, man, they're going to have to hold up. Even if they're playing further away from the ball, I still think they're going to have to hold up. In the 220s, man, at linebacker, I'm just kind of out. And I understand why Green Bay's out. Right, you get if Demetrius Knight and like Kobe King and some of these guys go nuts at the bigger numbers, Goody's probably taking a swing there. I don't think we're gonna see the 220 guys joining this team. Unless you think well, maybe he's a safety, but even the hybrid stuff is just I don't know, man. I don't know. Arizona says Gary at least top tier run defender edge now, but the pass rush lacking. That's the problem. With Gary, it stinks because in the 3-4, right, they were asking him to do a lot of stuff that speed rushers would do in a 3-4, right? Win the corner, win with speed. Don't use your power as much because this is where we want you to go. And now you just would like to see him use more explosion to power. And for a guy who's been, speed rusher training, essentially, for the past several years, it's tough. It's tough to make that switch. So he needs to use the power more. He needs to. Drew D says Harmon. So you could move Stewart to 3-tech. Man, I don't know. Not 281. 281 at 3-tech might be stretching it. If he was still 290, I think you could get away with that, but the fact that he's 281, he weighed in that at the Senior Bowl, that's 4 pounds off from where Gary was. Green Bay said we're playing him way outside in the 3-4. So I'm not sure about Stewart to 3-tech. If he gets back up to the weight, maybe. Grant and Collins are options. If they took Kenneth Grant, I'm in. I am in. He said he's down to 332 and he's trying to run like an insane time tomorrow. Folks, make sure you're tuned in for Kenneth Grant, okay? Just for the fun of it, to see the athleticism. He was on the freaks list, Bruce Feldman's freaks list for a reason. Like, his athleticism is insane for his size. Drudy says Tyleik Williams, or I think you're talking about, Alfred Collins. Yeah, Alfred Collins and Tyleik Williams are going to be interesting. Are they too big? Alfred Collins might be a little bit bigger than the huge at defensive tackle. But again, is Green Bay going to go after a one tech, right? Are they going to look for that? If they're going to look for that, Williams, Collins, Grant, maybe not as much Caldwell. He's even bigger. I think he's like 340. But like there are one techs that you can go, yeah, we can go get that guy. So Turtle's bringing up what Goody had brought up in the press conference, which was yesterday. Yeah. Or no, maybe it was. Listen, it's been one of those weeks. But anyway, Goody in his press conference said, you don't have a lot of picks, and he goes, yet. Which, to me, I agree. Does seem like trading out of the first, maybe trading up in the second or up in the third, right? Trying to, catch the last of that tier that they might have in terms of the grading. So, yeah, I do agree with that. Air Joyce did talk about Kane Medrano. It's somebody that I have listed as of looking at linebacker. Airjoy, if you have the measurements for him, drop that for sure. If you do. It's not like Wilson McDuffie are getting blasted off the ball by O-line. Yes, it's true. But if you watch most of the Jay Higgins might be the exception. Maybe he's the exception. Maybe he gets up to 235. But Jay Higgins doesn't play like 226. So there is an element of that for sure. That's a good point of like guys who play bigger than their size, but like, man, Higgins coming at 226 was shocking. Didn't Stokes play solid at the end of the year? He didn't get completed on as much. Yeah, it just, you can tell with Stokes, you can tell that the transition on the horizontal breaking routes, especially after a guy kind of gets him on the back hip, he just looks so uncoordinated out of that break. To convert from I'm playing a vertical plane route to a horizontal route, it just feels like the base is either too wide, right, or he's just in a position where he isn't preparing for that possibility of a break, to the inside outside, and he stumbles. The balance isn't always good. So at that through break, if you told him he could, and again, I remember doing his film way back when we kind of started this thing, and going like, man, in transition, this is tough. When you ask him to just turn and run, he's going to be great, right? He can keep hands on. His transition downhill, right, straight downhill is pretty good. But when you ask him to like have to speed turn sometimes because of that, or transition into more of a horizontal movement, when you ask him to change like his dimension of movement, I think that's where the struggles are with Stokes to me. Because I think he had the size, and I think he had pretty good arm length too. And it was just kind of like, if he got hands on, that was good. And it was, again, easy for him to play catch up, but it just felt like the transition point was the struggle for him. Balance wise, flat feet wise, whatever it may be. That I think is the biggest struggle right now. And from way back when, I remember it vividly talking about it, and it just feels like it's still here. And again, injuries, I know he's dealt with them, and that makes it tough. But it just feels like that's where I'm at with him. Prince Capsaicin saying, it will be interesting to see what Hafley's D will want in defensive ends now that they can draft for fit. Big difference weight-wise between Pierce, Green, and Scorton. Yeah, for sure. James Pierce, we'll see what he's at. I imagine he maybe barely clears 240 if he does clear it at all. But the production's been there. This is why I think, Green hitting the 250 mark was big. Because if Goody and company go like, a little bit smaller than normal, the 250s feel like the place to go. And that's where I would throw Donovan Ezaraku in there as well from Boston College. Already has the Hafley connection where Hafley might be like, yeah, listen, we could, have him play on defensive ends. We were comfortable there. We in the formation, right? Like we felt like he could do all of that. And if Goody's like, man, if he can just get his weight up to in the 250s, especially with the arm like he has, it's like 34 and a half or something. Like that might be somebody they consider. It really might. We might see that speedier pass rusher joining the fray. But I think there's going to have to be some certain benchmark that they have to clear. Smitty, what's going on? Appreciate you tuning in, my guy. As I said, we're going to have guests on here on the channel at some point. My guy right here is going to be one of them. So always been a supporter from day one, all the way back when we met down in Mobile in 2020, 5 years ago. So, and we do a mock on there around the 412 every year, which is always a fun time. Got some great comedic relief in there, as well as taking it seriously. I think it's a perfect blend of if you're watching a final mock draft before the festivities, that's the one. Jolly Roger report, bringing in some guys from the Pittsburgh scene here, says Chris Paul didn't have crazy tape. He's very light. Yeah, when I saw him come into whatever it was, 227, I was like, whoa, hello. The tape was solid, but yeah, he definitely, I think, benefited from having all those dudes, Ivy, Uman Mielen, right? JJ, who I don't know how to pronounce the last name, but it's Pegues, who's doing some fullback tight end stuff, including with D tackle, which is awesome. And then, of course, Nolan, right? Like, he had a lot of guys in front of him to be like, yeah, they're taking up a lot. I can go make plays. Drew D said I didn't want Gary going in the draft, but the way the board fell, I thought he was the best option. Really want to trade for Josh Allen. Yeah, Josh Allen would have been nice there. It was tough because it felt like Burns was my guy, but it felt like, oh, maybe he's not big enough, which was unfortunate. But yeah. Would have loved either of the Iowa tight ends as well. And had a lot of talk about DK, AJ Brown, and Terry McLaurin. But anyway. Eric says, just think of Evan Williams and Carl Brooks, who are more technically refined. Yeah, Carl Brooks isn't the most dynamic, but he can hold up at 3 or 5 technique. But yeah, I think the main worry is Goot drafting pure athletes without the tape to back it. Yeah, it again definitely has been an issue, and is always one, as Arizona points out, right, for who he will take in the first. The later rounds seem to be a lot better. Dante Sparta says we should draft more linebackers from Wisconsin. I know Vince Beagle didn't work out, but look at TJ Watt, Bond, and TJ Edwards. Yeah, TJ Edwards especially. Right, Bond, again, might be a situation of again, he played, outside linebacker, edge, right, Wisconsin, and transitioned to linebacker, and something clicked for him. Now, will it click elsewhere from a Fangio defense? I don't know. We don't know. But it was great to see him dominate this year for them. But yeah, TJ Edwards is a great example of a true linebacker, off the ball of he has the goods. But yeah, TJ Watt as well. Yeah, it would be nice. I mean, they might be looking at O-lineman from there. We'll see. Somebody I draft a lot in the mocks. Makes me think the roster is stacked in quality depth. We got guys who are elite. Yeah, maybe, again, we talked about trading back, but maybe he goes up and gets somebody, right? Maybe you go up and get someone. Zoltanian Wade is here, and it's funny because I actually I starred your comment from last night when you commented this and asked about the Nebraska D-line studs. Ty Robinson's got some good film from Nebraska. Why I think we don't hear about it more, in my opinion, is the class is deep, so people aren't always getting to those guys until later. In addition to everything else they're doing, and people don't always want to talk about a guy if some of the experts haven't talked about them first. Trust me, I fall into that as well. There's no question, but that I think is why if someone isn't pushing him that has a big following, you're probably not going to hear as much. But yes, Ty Robinson, because you put that in, I looked at it, and man, hand usage, 3 tech and 5 tech stuff, he's doing a lot of that. He could get to the long arm bull rush, right? Double hand swipe. He wreaks havoc. He made some plays at the Senior Bowl in the one-on-ones. So, yeah, I think he should be talked about, Ty Robinson especially, as somebody who, would be would be in consideration on day 3. Where are we? Prince Capsaicin says PFF has him at 6'1", 235. Well, I think I can help you in that department because I grabbed the Shrine measurements from online and downloaded them to my rankings Google Doc or Google Sheets. And here we are. Chris Paul, 6'0" and 7/8", 224 is your official Shrine Bowl measurement for him. Yeah, PFF didn't update them, even with Shrine Bowl and Senior Bowl measurements. I have no idea why. But there's your thing there. For sure. So, yes. Chris N says trade out the first to ruin everyone's night in person. I feel like that's a very, very possible scenario. Especially because Goody, again, said yet in terms of not having a lot of picks. Never know. But again, he might. Goody definitely could be the one who's like trade back from 55 to 58, and then 58 to 61, and then 61 to 66, and he's like accumulating all these day 3 swings, but he still might pick in the first. It just, again, it's going to depend on their board, who's there, right? Is there interest to come up and grab, a QB for the 5th-year option, whatever, whatnot. So, we have this certain player, we got to go get him before Team X, Team Y goes and gets them, like, so. Let's see. Stokes is Trey Wayne's 2.0. Well, that's, again, yeah, sometimes, again, there are a lot more misses than there are hits, for sure. Everybody says, I don't mind getting a lighter Sam as long as he consistently cover. So our own Sams were both bad in both departments. Yeah, I'm just so ready for us to finally stop screens. Yeah, that's fair. I feel like the speed at linebacker can do that at certain sizes and be beneficial there. So, but yes, I get what you're saying. And short, easy completions. Drew D says James Pierce equals Bruce Irvin. That's not bad. I haven't really thought about his comp, but I really enjoy watching him. Still remember that's how Tampa beat us. Nothing going deep, just ruined us on screens. Oh, yeah, the Tampa game was something else. Like a lot about Paul, Drew D says, but the thing that scares me, I'm not sure about his instincts. Again, yeah, these linebackers, man. It's fun to watch them run around and make plays and do all this, but can they read and react downhill, right? Shoot a gap when you're supposed to, disengage from a block, have the vision to see, to peek where running backs are going, where the blocking flow is, to recognize what scheme is being run. All of this, I feel like, is overlooked in terms of like, man, look how fast he's running. Look how quick he is. That happens a lot at linebacker. A lot. So yes, a lot of these like guys that are like, man, I can blitz and I can cover, but like, how about what else? And it's kind of like, I don't know. That's the scary part of the linebacker position. It's again why I wasn't big on Quay Walker as a first round pick. Because they didn't feel like he could play Mike, but they're trying it. So Joseph S., what's going on? Says, I hear the tight end class is strong. Whereas we really do not need one, but might Goody take a day 3 tight end to upgrade tight end 3? And also Luke Musgrave injury insurance. Yeah, could be possible. You never know. Here's a great example. Boom. Not quite 250, but a big dude, Aronde Gadsden, 6'4", 247. Big-time receiving threat at the tight end position. If they like Musgrave, they might like him. Very, very possible. Watch for him, but he might sneak into day 2. I think he's too good. But again, I don't think they should be content at any position if there's tremendous value there, to be honest. I'm probably going to do something in the second mock that I do that nobody's going to like, and that's fine. Please don't dislike the video. Just, I'm going to give you the heads up of like, you can leave. If you want, don't stay for this if you enjoy the rest of the show. But like, yeah, I don't think it's out of the question, tight end at all. Nebraska does have good coaching. This is Drew D. Arizona says, wouldn't mind training about 5-7 spots for Nolan. Yeah, I mean, Nolan's movement skills are absurd. As long as Nolan doesn't get too aggressively out of control where you see him turning away from like contact sometimes with the shoulder to where like he can't get off a block or make a play, That's I think the biggest concern with him is doing that more of like staying square, right? And I get it. You're working to one gap. You're trying to create that disruption, right, when you attack a gap. But it would be nice to do that and also maintain some level of like balance and control to make a play, perhaps. So there is times where he takes himself out with that, but man, he is something else. Dante Sparta asks, how do we feel about Rasheed Walker? Comfortable with him being our new franchise left tackle, or do we draft a guy? That's, I think, this is the Josh Simmons question to me. One, we're going to hear about Josh Simmons, tackle from Ohio State, if people do not know. We're going to hear about the medicals. How are they? How is he advancing, right? What's the progress look like for him? When could he be back on the field? If Green Bay feels like that guy, based on the film and the medical checks are good, and you think he's a good enough athlete, he's going to be a lot cheaper, right, than Rasheed Walker will, coming back on a probably close to a $20 million a year deal. You got to pay both tackles this offseason. That's going to be an interesting question where, again, if you bring Simmons along, and I get it, the first-round pick, people will lose their minds if it's a guy who's not going to play right away. It might take some time, but if Green Bay is still measured in their approach in free agency for the offensive line, I think there are options, especially at guard, that they could go get some help. I think it opens the door for like, hey, like if this is a guy you believes you can start for a long, long time, 2025 and beyond at left tackle, I wouldn't turn my nose up at it. And that's kind of the Josh Simmons part of this equation. So yeah, I mean, I think Walker's good at exactly what Green Bay has always wanted their tackles to be good at, pass protection. He's great at it. He has proven that. But are you going to pay him a lot? I don't know. It's a good question. I think we're going to find that out, right? I think we're going to find that out maybe even before the draft, but definitely during, if Green Bay goes like, yeah, we need tackle. Or but if they believe in Jordan Morgan, maybe that kind of nullifies the Josh Simmons part of the equation, but I'm just not sure. I feel like Morgan's going to play guard, right? So, yeah, that's a great question from Dante Sparta, and one I definitely starred very quickly. Here's Joyce says he likes Arroyo's end of day 2, early day 3 guy. Yeah, would have been nice to see if he is the athlete that we kind of think he is. Just because, again, tight end's a great measuring stick for like have sufficient athleticism, please. So yeah, PFF's definitely an outlier. They don't update very well. Dante Sparta says I was right about Cooper DeJean. I still haven't forgiven Goody for that. Again, Cooper DeJean. I know everybody's gonna. Nobody wants to hear this on Cooper DeJean. Nobody wants to hear this. Guys, he went to the perfect spot for his skill set as a nickel only. Like, if Green Bay wanted the nickel, great, they draft him in the first. Which, again, in the late 20s, really, really good nickel players are valuable, right? Ask Brian Branch. So, like, but again, he went to a perfect spot for this. And I said it on draft night, so it's not revisionist history here. I said the Fangio defense for him, keep your eyes in front, match route patterns, eyes on the QB, make plays, be a tackler coming downhill to fit the run, right? Rally to the ball in the screen game, in the short passing game. He was always good at that stuff. He was always good at it. The scheme is not the same here. It isn't. It's not the same anymore. Would he have been as effective? Maybe. He's that good a player, maybe. There's just no guarantees, though. And again, that's coming from somebody who would have loved it as well. Would have been great. There's no doubt. So, yeah, it's tough. It's tough, though. The Cooper DeJean thing is tough. Dante says they overthought that one. Yeah, I mean, again, Jordan Morgan is a tough one to swallow, yeah. And it's even tougher when it could have been actually Edgerrin Cooper and Cooper DeJean, if you really thought about it, as two of their picks for sure. So I get it. Yes, overthinking certainly happens. And to me, again, the best player I had on my board when Green Bay was picking was Lad McConkey. Gosh, that would be real nice right now. Or no, I guess it would have been Mitchell then McConkey. But like I had two receivers up there, both the centers. I'm trying to think if there was anybody else. who carried a higher grade than that. Edge Cooper, Cooper DeJean. There was probably more. We can go through that someday. But yeah, again, it was frustrating. There's no question. The Jordan Morgan pick was pretty frustrating. So I get it. Could you say Sam linebacker is very underrated, similar to how nickel is, or once you have good players at both that can cover, it really limits? Yeah, I think so. I do think though, like I still think even though running is coming back, that if you have a bigger physical and athletic player at the nickel, it does kind of allow you to stay in those situations more than if you need a Sam linebacker, right? Because I don't think passing's going away, right? We're not going to get into full-blown I formation, strong and weak I formations probably, right? But you are going to see like that joker position, that F position of like, this could be a receiver that blocks really well. This could be a tight end that blocks really well and is a receiving threat. Like that's coming back. So to have big dudes who maybe it's the safety who drops in and can play the run like that, like Kyle Hamilton, right? Like maybe it's that player who matches your Laportas and your Puka Nakuas at times. So I do think the nickel still matters, and like having a safety you can drop to that position and play it well and be physical and quick and all of that is extremely valuable. There is still some merit to potentially Sam being underrated, but I think nickel has become such a fascinating position to study, especially again, as I already said, we're running the football more. We're having this joker position that Sean Payton talked in great detail about. And others have picked up on it of like, this is an important position. And it can be a Laporta, it can be a Puka, right? It can be a lot of different things. And having that could unlock a little bit more of your offense. So, yeah, I mean, it probably is, but I still think I still would contend that nickel is the most. Long as Ryan stays a starter, I don't care. Huh. Yeah. SDM40 says, can you win a Super Bowl with Walker versus the treadmill of exchanging guys and getting younger? I mean, I think you can definitely win a Super Bowl with Walker. The interior must get better to win a Super Bowl. That is not a question that we need to answer, right? Center and guard positions need to be solidified to make that run. But I do think Walker is somebody who can handle himself out there, right? He definitely can handle himself. No question. Zach Tom, obviously, should be hearing that extension soon. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the Walker part of this with all the extensions that are going to be coming up because Goody drafted so well. Dobbs, Watson, obviously Tom, right? And you're obviously, I think you have that deadline. Maybe it was already there. I don't remember when the 5th-year deadline is now for these guys, but like Wyatt, Walker. So all that kind of has to be decided as well. So there's going to be a lot of that, right? And where does Walker fall on the priority list is going to be a fascinating part of the offseason for sure. So, but I do like him. I actually ran into a guy at the Senior Bowl who knows him, who grew up with him, and says he's awesome, and would love to have Rashid on the show someday to break down like how he has figured it out and become like a very, very good left tackle in the NFL. That'd be so cool. From 7th-round pick to starter. So. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. To me, I would, again, I have no problem extending Rasheed Walker, right? I would rather do it than the receivers that need to be extended. So I still think we don't have the dude, and we can continue to recycle some of that if we wanted to, and keep playing the committee button if you want to, rather than finding the one. It'd be nice to find the one, but they had their chance last year, so we'll see. But he's awesome. Would love to keep him, but I do think it's going to be something that's brought up, that gets brought up, right? Of like, okay, are we gonna like pay both of these guys at tackle, or are we interested if somebody falls? It's going to be a big part of that. Airsray says I would have just rather got someone other than Morgan. Yeah, I understand that because I graded Morgan as a guard. I had Pooney ahead of him. Pooney would have been awesome to have on this team this year. So I get that. I do. I'm with you. But we'll see. Morgan, not a finished product yet. It's not over. We'll see. We'll see. It did. The Morgan pick certainly felt different, right? Of like, this is not a massive home run swing. But I think whoever Green Bay picks in round 1, I feel like is going to get heavily criticized no matter what, especially if it's not, the guy we've always been talking about. So yeah, but it was weird. It didn't feel like the home run swing. So that's kind of where it's like, oh, that's a little bit of outlier, but they said it was like kind of the last O lineman in the tier. So Chris N says, Jake, you worried about Bullard's coverage? I am. As somebody who really liked Bullard, I am concerned. Yes, yo soy concerned about Bullard's coverage ability right now. He's definitely got to clean it up. Evan Williams definitely outplayed him last year. There's no question about that. So, yeah, I am. I don't know where he's going to fit. Is he fitting at safety? Is he playing nickel? Is that the plan? I don't know. We'll see. Dante Sparta says, I'm tired of picking Georgia guys. Yeah, I mean, it seems like Green Bay just picks the wrong Georgia guys, if I'm being honest. They didn't have a chance to select Andrew Thomas, but they didn't have a chance to select Jalen Carter. Nolan Smith's been nice. Like, Philly seems to have gotten those guys. Yeah. It would be nice for Green Bay to seem to hit on the Georgia guys. It was a shame because I really like Bullard. And again, he's not finished product either, but there were certainly concerning spots that popped up for him as a rookie that hopefully he can clean up because I'm still very excited about him. She walked into the guest volunteer at the animal rescue. That's cool. That's awesome. See, she's awesome, dude. From everything I've heard, especially from this guy that I met at Mobile, he's awesome, dude. Joseph S. bringing up Katan Oladapo. Yeah, like he maybe could be that guy where, as I was mentioning before, your Hamiltons, your branches who sometimes drop from the safety position to play box and play some nickel and like fit the run and be important in that regard. Maybe Oladapo can be that guy, right? Maybe he can be something like that. It's not impossible. And I'm excited to go watch back that game against Chicago because PFF said he played well. I would love to see. I would love to get some thoughts on that for sure. Probably be doing that once the draft is over. Airsjoy says, please keep Watson, dude, prove himself as a bona fide. Yeah, it's going to be hard to find big dudes like Watson who are that fast and who continue and do the improvement stuff that Watson has done. As somebody who was critical of Watson as a prospect, I think he's gotten better in a lot of spots. He is certainly the player who is as advertised in terms of opening and spacing things out, right? Like he has done that, but he has very much improved. He had like one drop compared to everybody else who had at least 7. So if I were prioritizing Tom, Sheed, and Watson, right, or right after Tom in terms of the extensions and Dobbs, I'm not as big on doing that stuff. I think you could bring Jaden Higgins or Pat Bryant in tomorrow and do that similar stuff. So yeah, that's where I'm at there. Dante Sparta says, what are we doing at center? PFF has Myers as one of the worst centers. Yeah, this is a tough one. Dante, I'm going to bring this up because when we get into the mock draft, we're going to talk about this. So I want to make sure we get to that. I'm going to star your question and make sure. I want to hit on a couple of these quick because we've only done wide receivers. Defensive ends to watch at the combine from a Packers perspective. We already know about Stewart. We already know about Mikael Williams. I didn't even put Mikael Williams on here, but you should know him from Georgia, right? Stewart and him are in that same kind of production. Not ideal. But like that's where they're at, right? Like those are those types of players. Where am I? I would love to bring up a couple things. Let me do this while I'm doing this. Hopefully, gosh darn it, PFF. Let me do what I was trying to do. Yeah. Okay. So another one like Jordan Birch should be somebody that you're watching. Like the athleticism is true. I mean, truly off the charts, right? Like he looks super fluid just running around. He's big guy. We'll see what he's officially at tomorrow. But like he's somebody who could test out of his mind. And Dane Brugger did have Green Bay take him in the second round of a mock. I don't think it was quite a month ago, but it was a few weeks. And he is somebody that has to be watched. You have to pay attention there. And so, Princely Uman also somebody. Let me pull up his quick here because He's somebody who I think could be in play. 6'4", 264, 34 and a quarter inch arm length. That's why he's in play, folks. And he's got some fluidity. There's some bend there. There's some change of direction that looks really, really good. So like this is the type right here. If it's like, okay, what if we go a little bit smaller than Gary and Van Ness, right? What if we get into like, the Brenton Cox, Aaron Mosby range of like guys who aren't as big, the Kingsley Enikbares, right? Who aren't as big as our two main players here. But I think he fits the bill really nicely. And I think the testing is going to be good. I think the agilities are going to be really good from him this week. Tomorrow, I think they do some of that, maybe a little bit on Friday. But that he is definitely somebody you need to be keeping tabs on. The reason I want to still bring up Ezaraku, and I know Chris N says I can't see them going lighter. Here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. He's close to 250, right? You would like to see him get over the 250 mark and still test extremely well at that 250, whatever it is. The arm length, the ability against the run that he showed, the pass rush chops, the length shows up on film, right? That arm length shows up. Yeah, I know he's a little bit smaller, all right? But there's so much here that I'd be totally fine with this. It just feels like he can, as Drew says in the comments here, it feels like we can carry more. We might be able to get 255 out of him here and still be as effective as he's been. I am fascinated by the possibilities with Ezaraku and to be fair, Uman Mielen as well, truly. Really quick, because he's here somewhere, I know I have him on this. Yeah. A little bit shorter, and the arm length might not be excellent, but this guy from Boise State here, he's got the size, he's got the weight at least in terms of the size. So he's somebody that's interesting, be more of a day 3 player probably, but he's somebody I'm interested in the testing this week as well. Ahmed Hassanin, maybe. That one's tough. I should know these by now. And then the last one is Ja Joyner from Minnesota, who I think should be somebody that y'all have tabs on. And again, 6'4", 263, 34 and an eighth. Yes. Another guy that, round 4, round 5, like there's something here. And this is like, I think pretty eerily close to Enikbares. I think maybe a little bit more in terms of the weight, but like, again, him and Uman Mielen are hanging around that number. So Ja Joyner is definitely somebody who I think needs to, you guys need to keep tabs on. Okay, offensive tackles, just a few. I want to get to Charles Grant. The grades are unbelievable. Let me go here. Where are you? I know you're here. Okay. So, like, this is really, obviously, it's not elite competition. We understand. But he did what he needed to do against the competition he was facing. Would have loved to see him in the Senior Bowl. He didn't make it down there. Was invited. Didn't make it down there. The athleticism could be off the charts. I think he's the guy who will show up in mocks. Would have been showing up in mocks more if he had been at the Senior Bowl. But I think he makes that jump into like, this is in my mock draft. Grant's in my mock draft after this week at the Combine. So I think he's there. Chase Lunt's another one, like listed 6'8", 305. I don't think he was here, right? I don't think he was here. No, he was not here. Where are we? But yeah, 6'8", 305. Grades look good. Again, he might be, the gap grade looks good, and I'm interested to see how that actually looks from him. Again, don't take these as gospel, but it looks good at least from what they've done. But I remember Lunton Haynes, the guard from Connecticut last year, were really good playing together in the outside zone, a lot of the zone concepts at UConn. Somebody that's worth a look, intriguing. Probably going to be a good athlete. Jack Nelson's another, of course, from Wisconsin. Might be that same kind of like tackle to kick inside player. Ozzy Trapila, I know he's in here. Let me get to him. Where are you? Yep. 6'7", 321. So, again, he's sitting on the edge, right, of where Green Bay has liked offensive linemen. But I think I think Sean Ryan was 6'5", but he was like 320, 321. So it's still a possibility there. Would love to see how he tests at that size if he is indeed sticking at 321. And then the other one, Alabama A&M, Carson Vinson. Okay. 6'6", 314, 35 and an eighth. Kind of held his own in some of the 1v1s down there, Alabama A&M. I think he's somebody who's going to jump on the radar, provided the testing goes extremely well. So he kind of fits. This looks good here, right? Project, work on him to be a potentially long-term tackle. Like, this could be the guy, and a lot of people will have eyes on him, but he's somebody I included there as well. Interior guys, the reason I included Marcus Bowe here is because, again, it's 6'5". Wait, no, he's here too. What am I doing? He is here. I know he is. Yeah, okay. So 33, not bad. 6'4", 309. This is eerily close to Josh Myers, right? Zach Tom, we're getting into that area. A lot of people have labeled Marcus Bowe the Zach Tom of this draft. That works. I think he could be the guy at center. Whispers. I think he could be the guy at center. To answer that question from Dante Sparta here, like, what are we doing at center? May I interest you in Marcus Bowe? Just an option. Don't have to agree, but it dawned on me a little bit that I feel like this could be that guy, where it's like, if he's the Zach Tom of this class and you're going, well, where do we play him? We play him tackle or center. And Green Bay goes, well, we got two tackles. Guess where we're playing him? Center. So I'm in. I'll be the first one in on that, to play him at center. Wyatt Millum as well. Just because, again, if he's going to play like guard, this is totally fine at guard. 32 and 5/8, obviously, but 6'6", 315. Like, this is fine. Maybe a little bit too tall for guard, but I do think he's going to get projected there. That's why I included him. Jared Wilson's down here as well from Georgia. Would love to see how he does as a true center in terms of the testing. No question. Want to see what he does, just to see if, again, Green Bay, maybe they're interested there. Green Bay looks for the athletes, right? It doesn't mean he's not going to be a good football player if the testing isn't good, but we know what Green Bay does, so I included him. And then Emory Jones, who had a lot of potential. A lot of people were thinking about, I'm sure when I do the reviewing my early mock draft for 25, I think he's in there. Pretty sure he's in the first round, which is why it's always fun to look back at those. But 6'4", 312, 34, like, this is good. Maybe a guard projection here as well. Like, don't forget about the pedigree and the potential athleticism we might get from him on Friday. Yeah, on Friday. So definitely think you should be watching him there. Let's get to some comments. STM40 says maybe they will go Walker, Jenkins, Ryan, Morgan, Tom. That's possible. But I do think they're gonna take offensive line at some point. Goody mentioned offensive line is one of the deep parts of the class, which I'm kind of surprised they would say that. But yeah, I think we'll see, right? We'll see. I lost my train of thought, honestly. But yeah, I think we'll see like how many players Goody takes at offensive line. He mentioned it being deep. Like, I imagine we're going to go there at some point during the draft. It might not be early, but I think it's going to happen at some point. Okay. So, yeah, this is still a possibility. But Airzray says, I watched Bo. He literally leaps out of his stance. Yeah, he's got the quicks. He certainly has the quicks. There's definitely refinement to his game. He is a little bit he's really lean, like in his lower half, where like you look at the legs and the lower half and you go, man, we could build up some strength there. And so I think that's why the center conversion makes a ton of sense. Let him build up that strength. And he's probably still plenty quick enough, right? In terms of like, how he can handle stuff in the zone, gap concepts, whatever Green Bay is going to run. Like I think it works. I do think it works. So that's where I'm leaning. He has played some guard. Played some guard in 2022. But he could play center. Yeah, I don't know about that. That will be the question for sure. Is the agility times? I think the rest is going to be just fine. But yes, it is possible that we're looking at like a 3 or 4 RAS for every Emory Jones, or maybe a 5 that drags down because of the agilities. But we'll see. We'll see. Really quick, just a couple more things. Defensive tackles, we've kind of talked about it, right? Nolan and Harmon. Nolan's in the 290s, right? Not as concerned. Would love to see what Harmon comes in at. Joshua Farmer, yeah. We got to go there. So, a little bit inconsistent game to game. But I do like that there is some versatility there. He's only 6'2", but again, arm length is really good. 314, carries the weight well, plays some 5 tech and 3 tech. Like, should be watching the testing for sure there. Norman Lott, of course, pass rusher from Tennessee, who I think can kind of get a little out of control when he plays, but there's definite disruption skill set. Got to see what the testing is for Darius Alexander. I know Drew D's talked about like maybe he's not going to be the best athlete. Yeah, it's possible, but I hope that he brings it. Kenneth Grant, of course, just to see how good of an athlete he is at 332. And then I put Jordan Phillips on there. Still a young player out of Maryland, and I know he was on here. Okay, not there. Yeah, 6'1", 318. But I do think he is very, very intriguing as a defensive tackle, especially because he's still a very young player. Green Bay should be interested there. Corners, obviously Will Johnson. We're watching that. We're watching Trey Amos. We already know about Trey Amos, right? We've talked a lot about these guys. Zay Alexander, the Shrine. Mello Dotson, another Shrine Bowl guy. Darian Porter, I think, is going to break a lot of the combine stuff. I'm almost positive. We're going to get like an insane thing from him this week. 6'2", 197. Yeah, we're probably going to get some pretty special from him. Azarie Thomas, right? Just hoping to see the numbers look good, right? And again, this is more from a Packers perspective, right, that I'm talking. Doesn't mean they're not going to be good if they don't test out of this world. But we're looking for Green Bay's perspective. 6'1", 191, I think is fine here. But we want to see the test. Green Bay will want to see the testing. Morrison, of course, there'll be a lot of buzz around him and just all the stuff. Interview-wise, I'm sure he's going to be flying colors there. Noel Williams, right? I think he's on the other team. No, he's not. Oh, Shrine didn't have numbers. Maybe they don't have numbers, but I think he's still a bigger guy at corner that I think they'll be interested in. And then, of course, my guy, Quincy Riley, who was bigger than I thought he was going to be, coming in 5'10", 192, maybe pushing the Jair vibes right back for us. So there you go. Maybe some nickel defenders, right? Starks and Barron are guys that you might see as safety and corner, but I put them in there as nickel players. Jordan Hancock from Ohio State is one, Jacob Parrish from Kansas State, Sebastian Castro, Iowa, and Malachi Moore, Alabama. If they want to go the nickel position route in this draft at all because of the concerns, because of moving Keyshawn outside, like players you should watch the testing for sure. So there you go. Is Morrison testing? I don't think he is. I don't know. It's a good question. I'm not sure on that one. So do you hear about Jalen Smith from USC? Yes. So here's the thing. So really like his tape over most. No one mentions him. I think this is why the Green Bay folks don't mention him. A little smaller, right? 5'10" and then 182. Feels like he's very much like Mekhi Blackman, right? Where the film is really good. Smaller guy. But again, teams will probably be looking at him as a nickel corner as well. Maybe some will consider him on the perimeter, but he'll probably be mostly viewed as a nickel player around the league. So there you go. That's all I kind of had there. So what do you say? What do you say? Is it time? I think it's time. We're already ready to roll here. Let's hit the mock draft. Does L mean he's naturally left-handed? Maybe. That's a good question. I don't know what that means. I'm going to shoot Jim Nagy a message there, or somebody I know a message to see what they think about that. But I don't know. That might be, or just the left hand is the one they measured. Could be. Alam says, hit the like button, subscribe. Appreciate you. Welcome. If you're new or if you've been just hanging out for a while, I hope you've enjoyed. Too old for this showing up says, a show up. Of course, you're doing a mock. Hey, we've done too old for this. We've done a lot of stuff before this. We're an hour 25 in, you know, that's how we're ways into this. But yeah, we're rolling now with this without further ado. Yes, sir. Here we go. We're going fast. We'll kind of look through a lot of the stuff here. Wow, you love to see this. Wow, take your pick. Take your pick. The trade down is 30. Do we want to risk anything of the sort? Would be very goody like to trade back, but let's pick. Let's make a selection. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have a hard time not going Derek Harmon here. Just because I think Edge, I think has some names deeper down the list that I think Green Bay could go that route. Because I think they feel more set. Oh yeah, Cheddar did go to Pittsburgh. That's funny because that's funny. Hayden Winks, who does stuff for like Underdog Fantasy, actually had him go there in his mock. Oh no, the train's here. The train's here, folks. We're gonna have to decide who we're picking though. Yeah, Williams and Shamar Stewart. There's a lot of things going on here. 12 I came on YouTube to watch LeJohntay Western highlights and no idea you were live. I will say, for those watching right now, we're going to be live after every day of the Combine. Probably around, in the evening at some point, we're going to be breaking out a lot of this stuff very, very quickly. So just a heads up for that. After all 4 days of the Combine, we're going live. Unless something obviously comes up, that I can't get away. But that's the plan right now. So Alam says, I'm new. Do you only do Packer stuff? I don't actually only do Packer stuff. I have this because my initial base of subs and viewers and commenters, right, it was mostly Packers to start on this channel, probably a little over 4 years ago now. And it's built out. I've wanted to do more, so I've branched out into the NFL. The draft has always been a thing here, so you're going to get all the draft prospect film rooms, breakdowns, all that good stuff, but you are going to get more than just Packers. And I obviously, of course, love to listen to what you guys would like to see. But yeah, it isn't just Packers. I know the live shows, if you look at the live shows on the channel, it's been mostly Packers, but we're also going to get on some guests to talk about certain positions this year and do some, mocks as kind of a big group. I'm planning on some of those. So there's going to be a lot of stuff. I know it's a little bit bare right now. It has been for the past few months. I've been dealing with a lot of stuff that has made it a little more difficult to record it more often. I think it's kind of under control now, so we should be full go right in time for the draft. So, yeah, it's Packers, mostly draft, I think, especially nowadays during this time at least. But I do a lot of film room stuff during the NFL season as well. So there will be quite a bit of that. So hope you stick around for all that because we got a couple things coming across the wire tomorrow as well. Not only the live after the Combine, but there will be some stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be time. It's a good time to tune in and sub if you like the draft, especially during this time. So, but appreciate you joining and hanging out. So, train came when it wouldn't be derailed. This is not derailed. Too old for this. Very funny. Love that. But yeah, Williams, McKell, but would prefer Harmon. Let's go Derek Harmon here. At 21, I think this is the way that it's so hard because Goody would love both of these guys so much. So much that it would be hard to pass. But we're going to go Derek Harmon, right? I think, again, generating a pass rush from the 3 tech is a huge need right now. Huge need. Well, you know it, folks. Unless I've got something. Oh, man. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Yeah, I think we're good. Again, Morrison would be great if you knew the injury stuff. I think this would be the spot where Green Bay would take Morrison, right? Farmer would have been really fun here as well. I know he's inconsistent. There has certainly that. PFF certainly thinks so, but like there's pop there. I think this is Azareye'h Thomas, period. I don't think we have to discuss it. I think that's where we're going, especially if the Ja trade goes down. Should we trade Ja during this? Let's trade him during this, huh? That's available listed. I've seen Membo too. Yeah, Membo, stud. A little bit bigger than I expected, but I let's do this. Let's use what they say that. Let's use what. Where's my? Can I just pick any team? Or are they don't have any picks left? Does Baltimore not have it? Baltimore's like at the top of the odds list. No, let's not do it. Let's not do it. We're not going to do it. We're just going to operate under the assumption that we just need more. So I'm going to go with Thomas here. Morrison, good enough tackler for Hafley? Yeah, that's a good question, but he's a darn good cover player. Drudy says, would you have chosen Thomas over Porter? Yes. I think Porter's got some stuff to iron out in terms of the technique. Now we could do the Jordan Birch thing, but I don't think I want to right now. Could do the Jaden Higgins thing right now, but I've got a plan. We're going to Azareye'h Thomas. I think it's the right call. Again, wouldn't mind Morrison one bit in this spot, but I do think Thomas is going to fit really nicely on this team. So we're going to go there. Hopefully our guy's still here. It doesn't look promising. Ooh, Royals already went. No, I think he's here. I think we're doing it, folks. Gosh, this is going to be so common in like every mock now. This is, oh my goodness. I don't know what to do now. I don't know what to do. Bo and Trey Harris are both here. This is a tough call. Well, chat, you have your chance to make your voice heard right here because Marcus Bo, center. Wilson might still be here if you guys want to do that. He is. Could go that route. Not opposed. But I think it's Bo or Trey Harris. Those are your guys here. So, Erzner said him on to Morrison's game. He drifts too much on inbreakers. Okay. Oh, Alam is an Eagles fan. Well, I assume maybe, Alam, you found this channel because of the Cooper DeJean video from a little while back. Planning on doing one on Quinyon Mitchell's rookie season as well, which I thought was spectacular. You all have an awesome DB room now that you've built out with those two. So that's exciting. So yeah, congrats on the Super Bowl win. The roster was awesome. I'm a big Devontae Smith guy. Always have been. So love seeing him get a ring. That was fun. For sure. So Eagles got a lot of dudes that I really liked in the draft. Carter's an obvious one, but I liked both Nolan Smith and Josh Sweat a ton. Obviously Mitchell and DeJean were studs, but you know. Oh, you do live streaming as well. That's dope. Very cool. Very cool. Don't put your live stream link in here. It might ban you. But when the stream ends, put that in the comments and I will check you out. Don't put it in here. Don't put it in here because it might. I don't know if the settings are on right now that would, because there are no mods in here at the moment. I think I need to set someone up to be that. I did have one for a while, but don't put the link in here. Put it where it ends in the comments, and I will definitely check that out. So, Eagles have all the DBs that Packers fans wanted. That's true. Okay, so Prince Cap's. Oh no, Alam, we might need you to break the tie, my guy. It is a fun community we got going on here for sure. Definitely want to build it because a lot of it's Packer fans still, but there are certainly draft fans in here a lot as well. But want to keep building it. We might need you to break the tie as well because I see 2 for Harris and I see 2 for Bo. So we got to figure out where we're going here. I could see either. I don't think Wilson's going to be available. Janelle comes in to say Trey Harris. Well, there you go. Let's do it. We'll do another one where we take Bo. All right. Alam says let's go Harris as well. There it is. We don't need those stinking mods. You guys do a pretty good job where we don't need them. So that's the good news. All right. We're taking Trey Harris. I think this is a great start. I love that PFF added this so we know who we've picked and we don't have to scroll back up. Big move by them. Huge. So that's a really good start. And to me, where do you look here? That's the question. No, not looking there. Just taking a peek if there was a nickel player. That's interesting. Is there an offensive tackle? Well, he's 6'8", so I feel like he's only a tackle. This might no, man. We are scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Yeah, listen, I don't. As good as it is, I know we can't take the 270-pound guy. It's unfortunate. Maybe we go here. It's been a good pass rusher, right? Yeah, Trevor doesn't like Emery, so we might be able to get him the next round here. We could wait on Joyner though. But maybe we take the Boise State guy. Yeah, I would love to take center, but I don't know where we're going. Like, Condra's good. And, like, maybe that's the route you want to take. But I think we wait. I think, man, it did not fall. No, William and Mary Kid's not here, which is tough. I mean, Dart is, which is crazy. I'm going to make a call because I don't think he's quite big enough. Let's go here. Let's go Boise State. I know he's in the 270s, which could be interesting, but it adds to the pass rush, and we need that. So we're going to go there. Jack Haffer Foldells. AFAB, what's going on? Saturday is Drew's birthday. Nice. Well, we'll be live. We'll wish you a happy birthday on the stream for receiver day, quarterback day, running back day at the Combine for sure. Could go Elijah. Let's see here. We still want to get O-line, though. I mean, I get it. At this point, though, this late? We doing this late? Well, maybe we want the interior guy. We got to get a center, right? Well, does everybody not? Well, this is a possibility. I like the idea of Ware playing center also. I think we got to go, because we haven't done it yet, right? Yeah, we got to go, I think, 2 O-line here in the next 2. Unless we get Vincent. I feel like we have to go interior, right? We got to get the center. So maybe it's Monheim. Yeah, we got us into a tough situation. It's unfortunate. What do y'all think? Jack Nelson's not a bad shout, but is he playing center? Ohio State center. Yeah, McLaughlin, I mean, been all right. All right, I'm going to make the call. I haven't watched a lot of Colby. Boy, I hope this isn't as bad as they've painted that. Let's get the center first. I'm gonna go Majors here. We're going to take Majors from Texas. It's going to be a little bit of a reach, but I think there's going to be another O lineman either at 200 or at pick at 239 that I like. Probably need linebacker, but at the same time, well, possibility. All right, let's go get Logan Brown. I know there's off field. Brian talked about that. All right, let's do this here. I know he's here. We're taking this guy. Rondé Gadsden. No questions asked. No questions asked. We got to take him there. All right, now, if he's still here, I think we take Vincent. Okay, yeah, that's not great. But, you know, we either take Vincent or we still take Ware, who is still here. What do y'all think about this? Ware or Vincent? Who do you like? Guy who's playing on the interior, right? Has slowly made that transition. Or a guy who could potentially be a long-term tackle. Ware's going to have to put on some weight, for sure. He's at 298 currently. But could be a nice player there. Thought Clay Webb was supposed to be a stud. Let me pull up something, and I know you can see this. Let's get his thing up real fast. 6'3", 310. That's not bad. That's not bad, folks. Left guard only, but maybe, just maybe. I don't care about no sand in the pants. All right. Let's get Ware and let's get... Got to take two players. Ooh. Okay. We're going to take Hancock to be a slot corner. And I hope Ware's still there. Otherwise, there we go. Got it. Okay. Web another that has off-field stuff. Okay. Well, what we did do in this one is we got... Oh, why do I have this up? There we go. Harmon, Zaire Thomas, Trey Harris. We take Ahmed H. from Boise State here. Jake Majors and Marcus Ware to help the offensive line. You get Rondé Gadsden, which I don't know why they hate this pick. Production's off the charts. You get two receiving threats you've added to the room. You get Jordan Hancock, who's played slot, so that's helpful there for your secondary. And you get, so I mean, I think this covers things pretty well for this one. So yeah, little snapshot there, looks pretty good. I'm gonna keep this one for us, and we're gonna do one more rapid fire, and this one's gonna be insane. So if you want to dip, totally understandable. But we're gonna go nuts here. If there's something I like, we might just make the move. Okay, whoa. Oh, now we're talking. Emeka Buka's there, huh? Don't tempt me with a good time. Whew, boy. That could be fun. That could be fun. We still have options, right? Still have options. Last Boise State player was Darren College. There you go. Time to switch. We're switching it up. We can't go Harmon again. Boy, I mean, yeah, slot Z player, but like, he's kind of that good. He's a good player. Ooh. Or, again, my book would be amazing. Oh, this is you. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Nice. All right. Well, now I know. That's good. Maybe we get Alexander in the second. Maybe. He is super high right now, though. He's 31st. Please score to me at 265. He might be. He might be at 265. All right. I think we do this for fun, no questions asked. When do we ever get a Buka here? It's way too fun not to. Okay. Oh, boy. The second round is something else. I think we go here. Maybe it's Elton play center time if we do this. Or we go absolutely nuts. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to go semi-nuts. We're not doing that. Yeah, I kind of like that idea. Edge gets super squirrely after like these, because nobody lasts late into the third round. So it gets weird. Ibuka can play outside. Yeah, I think a little bit. I think he's good enough to. Maybe we just go Birch. Maybe we just go with Birch. Imagine if we went offense in the first 2 rounds. Well, let's do it. Let's take Donovan Jackson. Guard, maybe tackle. Elton kicking inside. Let's see what happens. We're taking Donovan Jackson to go in Ohio State to start this mock. What happens next? Who knows? Can't wait to find. Oh, man. Should we do it? Should we do it? Oh, it'd be so much fun. This would be should we do this? I'm losing my mind, but this is great. Way too much fun here. No pass rushers through 3. Oh, boy. Caldwell's so big, but like, oh, well. Peebles is fun. Guys, I want to go Fannin so bad, but I fear that we cannot afford to. I fear we cannot afford to. I know he's not a Packers board guy, but he's awesome. Let's take him. Let's take Ashton Galati from Louisville. We're gonna do that. I wanted to take Fannin or Bo so bad, but we gotta do something sensible. We gotta do something sensible. Okay. We needed to be sensible there for a second. We thought about offense the first 3. Oh, we have no. We're fine. We're fine. I know what we're doing. We're okay. We may need to go corner though. Offense first 3 rounds would be insane, but like I listen, I thought about it, but we gotta stay sensible a little bit. We gotta be a little bit sensible. Yeah, we could do this. We could do Zy Alexander here, I think. I don't like him as much I don't like him as much as Huzzy or Riley, especially. I know Riley's stuff doesn't look good here. I think we go Alexander here. Yep. Let's do that. Okay. So now we're sitting at 160, and West went. Darn it. Oh, that was the chance, guys. I thought he was going to fall there. Really did. Okay. Yeah. I think we're gonna go. I think we're gonna do the insane part of this. No. Now you thought we were insane before. Actually though. Mike linebacker can get after it. Nope. No, we're not doing the linebacker thing. Let's go. Bashal Tootin. Pretty sure we're doing this. No, we're not. We're not. We're going to be sensible. Sensible. We don't have our defensive interior yet, but we're going to get there, I promise. Okay. Almost took a running back. Really wanted to take a running back. I know it's not the right thing to do. Okay. We still have 2 guys. I think we do this. I think we take Ty Robinson for 1. And we're also going to take another one. Wait to see how this rounds out. I think you're going to like it. I think we're going to be fine. We're not even, we're flying through this. Okay. Here's what we have right now. So we've gone 5 straight defenders after 2 offensive players. And I think it's worked out nicely. I think it's worked out nicely. Nope, we're not doing that. we are not doing that. Yeah, that's true. That's true. He probably would take Damian Martinez. Need some corners to show off out after this week. Yeah, it's hard because I think there are guys on day 3, but yeah, could go Tommy Hill. I'm gonna go Ware again, simply because I like doing it all the time. But we got Ibuka this one. Oh, I would have so posted this if we got 3 offense. If I took Fannin in the 3rd, I was for sure gonna post this. I still might post it, but it would have been insane. So there you go. 2 mocks. We got Ibuka in this one. We got Donovan Jackson, and then we took 5 straight defenders. Aston Galati, who's not, or Galati, or whatever that is, who's probably not going to be a Packer just based on the height and arm length, but like he is a stud. Zy Alexander, Kobe King to help with the Mike linebacker stuff. 2 defensive linemen, Ty Robinson, Thor Griffith, who I think people should definitely check out, and then Marcus Ware to finish it. 2 O linemen, 3 D linemen, got a corner, a linebacker, and we got potentially the 1 in Green Bay. And we got another King player. Yes, we did. 2 Kings, Penn State, on the Packers. So there you go. There's 2 mocks. There's a lot of combine talk. Make sure you've got the notification bell on if you want to see all 4 days after the combine live here. We're going to be talking about a lot of that. Hopefully going to bring some guys on, maybe somebody who's there. We'll see, to kind of give their thoughts on what they're seeing and hearing. But, yeah, this was a lot of fun tonight. Appreciate all of y'all who tuned in and who stuck around for a while. I know Drew, Airsjoy, Adam, Huddle, Alam, who's, you guys should go check out. I know AFAM and Prince Capsaicin and Too Old for This. Obviously, Adam Huddle, I think I said yours already. Janelle hung out and got here. I know Smitty is in here earlier checking things out. Chris N, SDN 40, Dante Sparta, who dropped a lot of great questions. Joseph, who was in here too for a while. If I missed you, my bad. I'm still scrolling up. Deltanium Wade was in here, and we got to his question, which I wanted to get to, which was great. So Turtles, for sure. You already know. But, yeah, this was fun, guys. Joseph Gleason as well as Joseph S. I know Mike Berry was here early as well. Ron Samville was here early as well. We got a lot done. We talked a lot tonight. And this is what we like. We like the questions. We like to bring the content, but also have that. This is the fun little community thing. So, yeah, stay tuned. More draft content. And you know what? I'm going to spoil something for all of y'all who were in here tonight. The first video dropping tomorrow, it's him. It's him. It's Ibuka. You get to see it. You want to see what Ibuka's about tomorrow. For sure. No questions. The video will be up on Ibuka. So if you haven't watched him in depth, you'll get to see a really nice in-depth look at what makes him tick as a wide receiver. So can't wait for that to drop. But thank you guys again so much. Throw a like if you haven't already. Get that thumbs up down there. Hit that sub button if you haven't as well. Again, the content's gonna be rolling out. We're officially in motion. It's we're full speed ahead now. So hope you enjoy it all. Good night, everybody. Thank you all so much. Digging this offense. We'll keep doing it. We're not leaving the Packers streams without doing 2 mock drafts. We'll do the sensible, we'll do the insane. But yeah, thank you guys again. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Go Pack Go, of course. And enjoy Combine Week. It's going to be a blast. See you guys.